If I've learned anything from being a founder over the last 20 or so years, I've realized that sales isn't optional for founders, it's survival. And through my experiences as a founder and now as a teacher of these concepts, I built out a new course called the Founder Sales Sprint. It's a 5-week guided intensive to help founders like you grow their businesses by creating an intentional sales strategy and a repeatable sales process. You may not know me, but my name is Eric Jansen. I spend most of my time teaching these concepts at the Ivy Business School, but it wasn't long ago that I was a founder in the trenches. I now spend some time as a podcast host and as an advisor and a mentor and an investor, but most of the time I identify as a teacher. And I remember what it's like to come up with the exciting idea and be able to call yourself a founder, to go out there and do the hard work of actually landing your first dream customer, bringing in that first revenue, and having that feeling like, oh my gosh, this is actually working. And then at some point the reality hits that, whoa, this is going to be a lot harder than I thought. We have been there. We understand what this founder sales chaos is really like, and the feeling of maybe not failing, but flailing. The reality is that this is really, really hard, even if you've done it multiple times before. And I know that the stakes aren't just financial. There's a lot of personal identity tied up in our businesses. And so most of us are shot out of a cannon to figure out whatever we need to figure out to make these businesses work. But the reality is, just because you're sweating doesn't mean it's working. For most businesses, revenue growth is actually the outcome of proper customer selection and selling systems, not just efforts, not just the work, not just the hours that we put in. So how do you know if you actually have a sales problem? Number one, maybe you're seeing a growth plateau despite the fact that you actually have product market fit. The sales process may be over reliant on you. Do you have to be involved in every single call, sending every single email? Maybe you've got a lumpy pipeline where some months are amazing and other months are not so great. Do you have any sort of documented, repeatable sales process? And are you sure? Do you know exactly what actions you need to take, what levers you need to pull in order to grow sales? If you don't have these things, those are some signs that you might have a sales-related problem. The plan with the course that I created is to take you from scramble to system over a 5-week period. And the transformation that I want to guide you through is helping you create an intentional sales strategy, build a very tactical plan, figure out the repeatable actions that need to take place in order for you to get the predictable outcomes. So the Founder Sales Sprint is the very first sales course built exclusively for founders just like you. It's live, virtual, interactive sessions where you're going to learn the proprietary founder selling system. I've got weekly office hours where you'll get feedback on any work that you've done. You'll get a chance to ask and get answered any questions that you've got. You'll complete weekly implementation sprints to apply exactly what you're learning in your sessions to make sure that this gets out there in the field. It doesn't just remain in your head. And it's taught by award-winning faculty, by me and a few other folks who are going to join us. It's supported by a curated community of other folks just like you. These are founders and their growth-minded colleagues who are in the trenches just like you. You're going to learn a ton from one another. So what can you actually expect from the course? The first week, we're going to cover sales foundations. And here we're going to figure out exactly what you're going to need to do in order to hit your revenue targets. So first we'll do some work to uncover what those targets might actually be. And we built a tool to help you figure out the math. This is the science of sales. So what actions do you need to take on a weekly basis in order to actually achieve your goals? That's week one. Week two, we're going to talk about a new concept I've been working on for over 2 years called sales debt. The sales debt is an analog to technical debt. It's the idea that we want to be really focused on the customers who we choose to work with. Without that focus, you can actually drown in sales debt, and it's the cause of failure for a lot of companies. So I'll run you through the sales debt assessment to figure out where you are, how bad your sales debt is, and coming out of that, we'll get a really clear picture of who your ideal customers are. Next, we're going to craft really clean messaging. And why does messaging matter? Why are we going to spend time on value proposition and messaging in a sales course? Well, often there's what you prepare, which you think is this beautiful pitch. What you actually end up saying in the pitch is probably not the perfect version that you imagined in your mind. And what people are hearing from the pitch is an incomplete reception of what you think you delivered. And ultimately, people might be deciding the wrong thing or not jumping on board with your solution because they made an incorrect conclusion based on incomplete information. So what we want to do with messaging is get real clear on what it is that you're selling and why that matters to your customers. Week 4, we're going to run through the critical moments that matter. I think in any deal, there are 5, 6 critical interactions that you have with customers that really matter the most. I've run this session now for big name companies. Really gets a lot of good feedback. This is probably one of my best sessions that I run for companies. And so I want to run you through this moments framework and help you craft the moments that matter in your business. Then we're going to do some experimentation where we'll actually get a chance to put in place some of those best practices from those key moments. We'll get to audit and test your results to see if we can start turning those knobs to get you closer to the actions and results that you need in order to achieve the outcomes. We've got an assessment that we'll guide you through in order to figure out what does your current process look like relative to what great could look like. And next, we're going to help you transform your playbook into a sales machine. So we've got partners that we can introduce you to take all of this playbook work that we've done, get it into the field, and maybe automate pieces of it that make sense to automate. What do you actually need to commit to be part of the course? On a weekly basis, we'll have a live interactive session at the top of the week for 2 hours, and then office hours midweek as a check-in. These are optional office hours. And then you've got some homework in between. What you can expect is probably 2 hours of live sessions a week, an hour of office hours, and we're estimating between 3 and 5 hours for the implementation sprints. That work on the implementation sprint is likely some of the work that you're already doing. It's going to involve real customer interaction. The timing is that the class kicks off on October the 6th. We're going to wrap up by November the 10th, so you'll be all tied up before the holidays. This founder sales sprint is the only founder-focused sales school that provides a clear, structured path to predictable revenue growth. After the sprint, you'll confidently be able to say that you're earning the attention of your ideal buyers. You'll know exactly how to conduct sales meetings with purpose. You'll be able to present solutions that align with your customer priorities. You'll be able to figure out how to keep momentum going in your deals. And most importantly, you're going to be able to produce consistent, predictable revenue. The pricing on this for the initial cohort is $7,500. And I think if you don't get 10x the value of that in your business, then I have no problem returning your tuition back to you. If pricing is a barrier for you, maybe you're a little earlier stage, feel free to contact me and we'll figure out if there's a scholarship opportunity for you. Is this program right for you? We built this program with founders in mind, and ideally it's founders with proven product market fit. For us, that means probably generating at least $100,000 in revenue or more. We want the leaders of the company to be involved where possible because they're the ones that are going to help the founder systematize these things. We want growth-focused entrepreneurs. Again, ideally, you've experienced some growth, but maybe you've hit a plateau. We also need founders who are committed to the implementation. Just sitting in on the weekly sessions without doing the work is not going to get you the result. We've also worked with a bunch of founders who are planning to get out of their business. Maybe they've had a sale or are trying to go up for sale. And if you're looking to put in place a system so that you can step out of the day-to-day, this is also a good fit for you. This is probably not for you if you don't have any customers yet. If you're pre-revenue or have less than 50K in revenue, we may want to focus your energy on finding product market fit. This is not for enterprise sales teams. I do those trainings. I've done those trainings. This is not really for the account executives at multi-billion-dollar companies. This is also not for founders who can't commit to putting in the work and the implementation. You're not going to get the results unless you put in the work and the implementation sprints. This is also not a magic bullet. You can't listen in on the weekly calls and not do the work and expect to get results. So it's going to actually require work on your behalf. The reality is that most startups fail not because they can't build, but because they never figure out how to sell. And I don't think that any business should experience a failure for lack of sales knowledge or skills. So we built this founder sales sprint with you in mind. We'd love to have you as part of the first cohort. We're limiting it to 25 ambitious founders with the very first class date starting October 6th. I hope we can count you in.